life is an adventure. Because you are earning money. Now you are a dependent. You have education. You have experience. And now here you are. You do not have a job. It's like, you know, what was the point of all that work and all that experience? And the people that I left, they're growing, you know, in their careers. And here I am, I'm stagnating. Maybe I do need to reorient myself with this land, because I'd been away for, 11 years. A friend of mine just told me, you know, there's this organization that's looking for a trainer. And I gave them your contact, because I think that's the kind of stuff that really makes you happy.
Hello and welcome to The Peculiar People. My mission is to help you to optimize your decisions so that you can enjoy your life, your careers, and your relationships. So we are in part 4 of Colleta's story. She has been taking us through her adventure of discovering her purpose. If you missed part 1 through 3, I invite you to check out the description below, where I have put out links for videos number 1, 2, and 3. Today we're in video number 4, so let's dive to it.
It was very eye-opening for me. I realized that this was actually quite a phenomenon. It was, you know, I had just experienced it through our different moves. But I didn't know that it was a global thing. I didn't know that it was quite a phenomenon. And so it was good just researching into it and understanding the kind of challenges that accompanying spouses were facing all over, whether they were male or female, and the challenges that came with, you know, leaving your career and trying to reestablish yourself as a professional in a different land. And so I thought about, you know, bringing in coaching as an intervention that would just help, you know, in bringing self-awareness and stuff. And so at that time, in the process of doing my research, I came across a very interesting book. And this book is called A Career in Your Suitcase.
In your
suitcase, yes.
Oh.
Yes. So, of course, I bought it on Amazon and, you know, on Kindle. And I read it and I thought, I wish I had read this book before, way before I started this journey. Because it was now bringing together the things that I had learned the hard way and I had taught myself. I was seeing stories of other women who had gone through the same. And there in that book, it mentioned something and it said, I forget exactly what it was talking about. No, I think it was in terms of either collaborating or creating a community or brainstorming together. And it mentioned Success Teams by Barbara Sher. And so I decided to check out Success Teams. And I realized that this was a coaching program. And I thought, because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like too expensive to learn and become a trainer in it. And then use it to coach. I thought I could use it as the program to coach the ladies that I wanted to have as a, what are they called, as the population for my MBA project. And so that's what I went with. And it gave me wonderful, wonderful experience, wonderful insights. And I decided I was going to become a coach. And at this time, we know that our time in Ethiopia is almost coming to an end. So we are thinking about, so I'm thinking about when we leave, you know, what is it that I'm gonna be doing? Am I gonna go and start looking for a job and stuff like that? Or what will I do? So this idea crystallized that, you know, I needed to just, you know, open a company and start coaching people officially, formally now. Because before I was doing it, but in just a very different way. I didn't realize that I was doing something akin to coaching. So that's what I decided to do. And so when I left SCCA, of course, I left with the knowledge that, you know, we're going to be moving. And and I left and started now full-time coaching. And that, my friend Victor, is what brought me to Synapis, where we met.
Yes, that's where we met.
Yes, because I'd just come back in 2015, and I just started this business, and I wanted to see what does it mean to be an entrepreneur, how do you run a business and all that. So that's how I signed up and got into it. Getting into that space and starting to coach, and then again at some point feeling like maybe I do need to reorient myself with this land, because I'd been away for 11 years, and I was just feeling like it feels very strange coming and starting a business. I felt like I needed to relearn this place, and when I left, I had left as an employee, and so a lot of things had changed for me, and I felt like a lot of things I needed to know for Nairobi, for Kenya. So when I got this opportunity to work, to be employed in a training organization, I took it, and I saw it as a God-given opportunity, because I didn't even know that company existed. A friend of mine just told me, there's this organization that's looking for a trainer, and I gave them your contact, because I think that's the kind of stuff that really makes you happy. Yeah. And I wasn't even looking. I hadn't even told anyone, But then when I thought about it, I said, why not? Maybe that's what will, open my eyes to how these things work, back here at home. So I got into this organization and loved it. The work, doing skills, soft skills, well, I don't like to call it soft skills, but essential skills program for, students in their high school and university, and trying to support them to acquire these skills that help them to become, more versatile, and skills like communication, skills like courage, skills like resilience, all those, and using a game to do that. I was now introduced to another way of learning and training, and it was fantastic. Gamification, observation, reflection. So those 2 years were, I really learned a lot, and I got to meet plenty of people. And even though, the program did not quite get in the way we had intended for it to get in, now during the time of COVID, in fact, a friend of mine and I who worked there was saying, this is the time for people to see just how important that program was. Okay. So yes, and then, after a couple of years, I felt the need to now step away and re-strategize and get back into full-time coaching and writing. I really, really especially wanted to write, because I felt that's a part of me that I had sort of allowed to sleep while I was busy trying to, learn how to be an entrepreneur and all that stuff. So I really wanted to get back to writing. It was a bit difficult because I also felt a bit rusty. Yeah, but then I had a lot that I felt I needed to write about, and that's how the book came about, How to Design Your Career Game Plan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask this question. I mean, you're very focused on your accounting career, but you sort of like along the journey you either felt the pull or towards working with people and training and all that. What are some some of those things that now give you a clue that maybe you should try this out? Because your focus, I could hear it. You had this focus. Yeah. So what are those clues or just things that made you try out this other area?
Right. Yeah. So what clues? So first of all, let me address. You said I was very focused on my accounting. SCCA is a very interesting course, and I'm glad I did it, because it allowed me to appreciate accounting in a different way. Because before, accounting used to be about number crunching and stuff like that. But we did managing people, we did business analysis, we did performance management, and so it's not just purely accounting. So all these things I found very interesting, and I found that I resonated a lot, especially with the business papers. And I felt that this is important knowledge. This is knowledge that I would want to use. And of course, having put in a lot of time and effort, I felt that I needed to finish this course. And so it's still my thing. I still have that knowledge. Of course, if I was ever to work in the field of accounting, which, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen very soon, but if I was ever to do that, I would need to refresh a lot. I think a lot of things have changed. And ACCA, does a lot of research, and they've always been about preparing you to be different. So even if it's not purely accounting stuff and things like that you pick from there, you also pick these vibes that this is a very forward-looking organization that's very, very keen to prepare people for the future of work. I like that focus of ACCA in terms of just looking at the accountant of the future. And we always used to be told, the accountant of the future, the place is in the boardrooms, all right, in an advisory capacity, not just number crunching and, thinking strategically. So I think these are some of the things that, I resonated a lot with, and they helped me to have the kind of outlook that I had to a great extent. So yes, that explains my focus to finish and to stick with it. And who knows, one day I probably will teach, some of these in accounting and stuff like that. I hope I have enough lifetime to do all these things that I want to do. So that's one. And then in terms of how did I get these clues that led me, one, when you do something that speaks to you, I don't know if it was Mandela or who said, if you speak to a person in a language that he understands, it goes to his head. But if you speak to him in his language, it goes to his heart. Okay? So there's some of this stuff that I was doing that was going into my heart. Like when I meet you and you are in point A and you're thinking, how am I going to get myself from point A to point B? And then something I say or do gives you that perspective and helps you to get that clarity, and off you go. Such things, they just bring me to life and they inspire me so much. So I think the work that lights up my heart and the work that lights me up is a big clue that that's the work that I should be doing. Okay, so that's one of the things. And the way it just seems to come naturally, it doesn't. I haven't found myself like struggling and wondering now, where am I gonna get people to help? How am I gonna find people? Somehow the people find me, and I believe that it's just things that probably God orchestrates in such a way that I'm able to be connected with the people who need my services or who need what I have to offer. And the fact that, I can offer that and it makes a difference, it just blesses my heart so much. And so there is a scripture in Ephesians 2:10, we are God's workmanship created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared for us even beforehand, isn't it? And so those good works, when you're doing them, something bears witness in your spirit that these are the good works. This must please God, because if it makes people, have their best brought out of them, if it makes people feel that they are of intrinsic value, and if it gives them that inspiration to go on and to put their best foot forward, then it must be the work that God prepared for me to do. So these are the things that just bring me to these thoughts. So the inspiration, the fulfillment from the results that I see, and how it kind of just calls me. Yeah, it kind of found me. Let me put it that way. So I feel like God must be orchestrating it for me, and so that's just the work I'm going to continue doing until He says, "Hey, that's finished now. Do this other work." Yeah. And if it takes me back to accounting, I'll still do it. Yeah. Yeah.
I like what you said there, that it calls you, you know, what it calls you, it inspires you, looking at the result, you find fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I think those are very important clues that helped you along the way.
Yeah.
So what would you advise accompanying spouses from your experience?
So from my experience, I'll just say that it can be tough. You can feel like a fish out of water. In fact, I did feel like a fish out of water many times. And sometimes I felt, I think you've probably seen that, those metaphors and those pictures that I use, they actually come from that experience, feeling like I have been uprooted from, you know, like I'm a plant, I've been uprooted, and now I'm here, there's no soil, you know, so I need to find soil or else I'm gonna die. Or I'm a fish and I need to find water or else I'm gonna die. So you kind of feel like this sometimes, and sometimes it can lead to resentment or envy, or, you know, just some negative feelings, because you're thinking, the people that I left, they're growing, you know, in their careers, and here I am, I'm stagnating. Or looking at where you would be, or looking at the place where you have been, let me use the word, reduced to, for lack of a better word, because remember my MBA research, I interviewed, you know, ladies who are accompanying spouses, and some of the thoughts that were coming through is like, it feels like falling off a pedestal, because you are earning money, now you are a dependent, you have education, you have experience, and now here you are, you do not have a job. It's like, you know, what was the point of all that work and all that experience? And the thing is, I'm sure you've experienced this, when you're right in the thick of things, whether it's a sickness or a negative situation, somehow your mind can play a trick on you and make you feel like you will never come out of this. This is it. Or it's even downhill from here. So during those moments, when those moments come, just remember that it's those very experiences that are actually going to help you. In fact, be thankful if you ever go through such an experience, because it now allows you to ask yourself this question: who am I? And who am I without that job title? Am I only relevant if I have a job title or if I have a job? Okay. So I think I would advise them to embrace such an opportunity and make the best of it. Use it for self-discovery. Use it to understand the beauty that they have inside of them and the treasure that they carry. And then work with a coach, if necessary, to help you bring it out and align it with the needs of where you are. Because the truth is that, and this is something I read from Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life. He said that in some tribe, I forget which tribe that is, or some place that he went to, the people used to, it's like they give you a blessing when you're going somewhere, and they say if God sends you somewhere, it's like he has now another pair of feet, another pair of hands to work in that place. And so that's how I chose to look at it. God has sent me to Burundi, to Ethiopia. That means he has now another pair of hands in that place to do the good work that he prepared for us beforehand. So embrace it, look at it this way. And then, like we shared before, yes, you've lost a part of you, you've lost some things that you enjoyed. Take time and grieve those things. Don't, pretend like it wasn't a loss. Acknowledge it, accept it, and then look on the other side. What is the gift? What is the opportunity that this presents? And I believe that that will be a very important part of growing in that process. Yeah.
Well said. That is well said.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so finally, what would be your parting shot? Having looked at your career journey, what would be your parting shot?
So my parting shot, haven't had a lot of time to think about it, but what comes to mind very quickly is that life is an adventure, all right? And when you go on an adventure, you need to be curious, all right? And you just need to be ready to explore, because you don't know what this adventure is gonna bring, okay? Because sometimes we do get so fixated in a certain way of doing things, in certain behaviors that work for us, so that when we find ourselves now in a different place, we are lost and we just want to go back to what we know. And allow me in this parting shot to share something about my father. My father, he passed on in 2012, but I mean, yes, it was in 2012. But before that, he came to visit us when we lived in Ethiopia. And I noticed that he was writing with his left hand and eating using his left hand. But that's not how I remembered. You know, so I asked him, hey, Dad, you've not always been left-handed. This is new. And he said, oh, it's been a number of years now. You know, he said maybe 4 or 5 years, you know, he's been using his left hand. And I said, why? He said his right hand somehow just started, you know, malfunctioning. Like it shakes so much, so he can't hold a pen, you know, he can't hold a spoon. And so he decided to teach himself how to use his left hand. And he said, you know, I needed to do things for myself, especially write, filling in crossword puzzles. And I had to learn how to use my left hand. And when you look at stuff that he wrote with his left hand, it was just as good, if not better, than what he used to write with his right hand. And why do I bring up this story? Because people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Okay? And these are some of the things that we use to our own detriment sometimes. Yeah? So learn to question some of these things. Really, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? You know that, but does the dog know that? Okay? If the dog needs to learn a new trick, I think it's gonna do everything possible to learn that trick, okay? But anyway, I don't know much about dogs, but I know about humans, because sometimes we use that for ourselves when you say, you know, I'm too old to learn this and that and the other. My father was in his 60s when he learned how to use his left hand, all right? Because he needed to write, okay? Now, God gave us 2 hands, okay? So in the same way, God has given you abilities, okay, and opportunities in accounting, in what, but that's not the only thing. Probably you'll find yourself in a situation or in a space where you have to use your left hand, okay? What is it? Don't despise your left hand. And it could be anything. It could be a skill, it could be an experience, it could be whatever. It's just as capable as your right hand if you put it to work. So that's my parting shot. Yeah.
Colleta, thank you very much for sharing with us your story.
You're most welcome.
This has been very inspirational.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity. And as you can tell, I can go on forever. So
that was an amazing story. Wouldn't you agree? I think Colleta has experienced a very, very diverse. She has had diverse experiences which have really helped her to build her career and learn about herself. So if you want to learn more about Colleta or to connect with her, I'll leave her contact in the description below, where you can be able to find out how to get in touch with her and also how to get her book. All right, so thank you very much for staying tuned to The Peculiar People. Stay tuned, because we'll have more of her content where she'll talk to us about different things. Thank you once again for watching, and I'm glad you're here.